Hello. Now we will see how to read and write from a file. So we have already created in the last few videos. We have seen how to declare a structure, how to define a structure, how to declare structure variables, and use scanf to read from the keyboard. Use scanf to read from keyboard, and then store those values in the structure variables. So these are things we already saw. Now the next thing we can look at is to write, let's say, this structure into a file, and we'll then retrieve it and read it. Okay, so we can do that. So let me write this structure information into a file. I'm going to write a function here. As you could, if you haven't seen the previous videos, please, you need to watch that before you come to this video. The reason being that we already discussed how to what are the structure information and etc. These details. So if right, so I'm not going to go into those things now. So what in this video we are interested in how to read and write from a text file. So let's say I'm going to so we're going to have a void function which is going to so write to file. Okay. And I'm going to take the student structure as my variable, and okay, so this is my file. So I'm going to first I'm going to open a file, let's say student.txt, and I'm going to write. So I need to open it and write. Now once I did this, I need to check whether this file star is null. So file star is null, it means something failed. Okay, you are not able to open the file. That has happened, that might have happened because you do not have write permission. For example, to write into the current folder, you don't have permission, so therefore you couldn't open the file. So that can be one reason. So for some reason you are not able to open that file for writing, and in that case it's better we return uh, with a 0 1, which is an error. So I would have an int here, and I return 1 to mean that there is an error. Okay, the write failed. Now sorry, the opening of the file failed. Now the next thing is to basically write the structure. So how will I write the structure? So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use fprintf. Here I have to first pass the file pointer, then I have to write what I'm interested in writing. Okay, so first I will write the name, right? First I will write the name followed by an integer, followed by a float, and followed by an integer. Okay. And this is basically the student.name followed by age, followed by marks, followed by number of address. So 1 second. So this is all student. These are all members of the student. So I should write student dot. Next thing is I have to go through the for loop. I go through each of the all the different addresses of the student, and I'm going to write each of that address. First is the house number, followed by house number followed by the string followed by another string. That's it. Right. And again, I'm going to print. So let's just print a new line. Okay. I'm going to have student dot address dot house number next is dot street name comma dot control. Okay, so I think this will be enough, and I can just take it down. So this brace is not required because there is just one statement to write, and we can have, let's have it in a new line. Let's go to new line. Finally, we need to close this. Okay, that's good. So let me call this file, and I'm going to return 0 because it has successfully. So ideally, we should also check whether this fprintf is returning correctly. Maybe it failed due to some reason. The fprintf function failed, meaning not able to write for some reason. It might be because you opened the file in read mode. That might be the reason why an fprintf might fail. So ideally, I should take that and check whether it's not failing. Okay, so I go here. I'm going to call that function with now let's run this. gcc read.cc. Lot of errors. First thing is that this has to be okay. Next thing is I didn't declare I, so I have to do that. Here now the issue is that I didn't pass the file pointer, and therefore the machine does not know where to write. So I fix that. Everything is fixed. Now I just run. It's asking for some name. So age 32 and marks. Address. Okay, so let's have one address. I'm going to have a house number 23, street name, I don't know, and country India, let's say. And okay, so this is what has come. Okay, so one thing, maybe you noticed here that the marks is 82.3003, whereas I entered it as 82.3. That's because so the float is going to store this much information, as 6 digits of information, but it uses a special kind of format where it's not able to store the fact that it is of the it's exactly of the form 0.3000. Okay. So the float representation is able to store the value. The closest value, the float representation can store 0.3 followed by 5 zeros is this 0.3 followed by 4 zeros 3. So it's always going to store the closest value. Okay. Right. So this would be, I mean, for most practical application, this would be enough. If you wanted more precision, you should go for double. Right. Now, what has happened is that, okay, this is getting printed on screen, but did it write into the file we were understanding? So what is the file? We were looking at the file student.txt, right? So let me just see. So the student.file is there. I can just get it and see what is the student.file, right? Can you see this? So this is student.file. Okay, so it's written Sachin 32.82.3 followed by one, basically one address, and the address is 23. I don't know. Okay. I hope this is clear. Right. So you could see there is one line after this because there is one line. Right? We leave a slash in and we leave a slash in both. Okay. So right. Let's just open that file. Maybe I can open this file here. So this is the student.file, the student.txt file. As you you can see few things. The enter line has come. It has come down here, the slash n, because there's a slash n after you have written the address. So the first line is the address. First line is the student name and age and roll and marks, followed by the next line is basically the address. Now let's have it. Space is unnecessary, so I'm going to run this again. Okay, now I'm going to do next thing. So let me just run it again and see something. Okay. So name is Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, so I've given the name consists of two words. Age is, let's say, and the address is, okay, number of address again, one, house number, I don't know, let's say Mumbai. Okay. This is now the details, and maybe I can just check the student.txt file. Right. So it's Sachin Tendulkar 23. Okay, everything is fine. Okay, now let me try to read this. So this is now a text file which I have written into. Next thing I'm interested in is that I'm interested in reading from this file. Okay. So int. So it's not going to be an int. So it's after reading this from this file, it's going to return the address. Okay. It's going to return the student structure. So read from the file struct. That's not the word. So okay. How am I? Oh, yeah, I had to check this fact. If fp is equal to null, I should pass an empty student because I need to return something. Right? So I should pass an empty student. So what I will do is the following. I'm going to, rather than pass a full student information, I'm going to pass a pointer. Okay, rather than passing the structure, I'm going to pass the pointer to a student. So that helps me in return null. So the pointer can be a null, but that would mean I create a struct student so let's call CLO this time for a change. And what should I pass? I should pass it requires first I pass how many? Yeah, this is 1, and then I pass the size. So this is student. Right. So this will allocate a student structure, and I'm going to pass that. Okay, now I'm going to use this. Basically, I'm going to read from the student.txt file. I'm going to read, and I'm going to store it into this file. So, sorry, store it. I'm going to retrieve it and store it in this data structure. Okay. Oh, I didn't give a name. Now, so fscanf, right? fp, and how is it? Percentage s, percentage d, percentage f, percentage d, right? So what is it I want? I want student name. Okay. So first thing, you might have noticed that I didn't use dot here. I used this minus followed by greater than. It's like an arrow. And the reason for doing that is student is a pointer. On the other hand, here student was not a pointer, right? It was a structure, and therefore I use dot. And here it's a pointer to a structure, and therefore I had to use this the pointing notation. Okay. Next thing is I give I have to pass the address of age, then I have to pass address of marks, then I have to pass address of right. Okay, now I need to, so let's have, next thing I need to do is that I have to allocate memory for the address, right? So again, I have to do I have to do um, so struct address star right. But this is not one, but right. Now I have that. Next thing is I'm going to have a for loop which goes from 0 I less than I'm going to scan it from here. Scan f3 comma percentages. Right. What is that? Percentage d, percentages, percentages, right? Percentage d, percentages, percentages. Right. And this should now take should now take house number, and then I should take the street and country. Okay, this should do. So I have now okay. I can now read from file. Let's see how this works out. I didn't close. I have to close. Okay, so I read, I print student, I write to file, I clear memory, and then I'm going to do the following. So I'm going to read from file and I'm going to print again. Print this. Okay, two things to see. Right. First, so I read from that file and I'm going to store that pointer in std. Now I'm going to print the student info by calling the same function I used earlier. But I'm passing star std. Why did I pass star std? Because it's student info, as you could see here, does not take a pointer value, but it takes an object structure. It takes an object of the structure. On the other hand, star std right now is a pointer. So star std is the structure, so I have to pass that structure. That's what I did. Next statement is to clear star std. So clear memory star std. In that case, so that function will now clear the address of the allocation we did here. So the address, right? See this here, look. And finally, I free std. Okay. The student pointer, which has been allocated memory here. This one. Okay, so this is what. So we have to take care of all the memory allocations. All the memory we allocated has to be freed, and all the files which we are opened should be closed. So have we closed both? Yeah, we have closed both. I didn't create an integer, right? So let me. Okay, and now let's see. Let's see what happens. GCC. So there's some. Okay, there's some issue here. This is not what is required. What is it we need? We need address. What is it? Yeah, this is address. That should take care of it. Next is where it is? This is not num address. This is again. The street is not there. Street name. Okay. Country is not there. Okay. So street name and country we don't have to. It's a character array. So this is not what is required. That should be enough. Right. So it's compiled properly, and I'm going to first find and name Sachin, age something, address is 1, number something. So it's printed here, and you can see it's printed on the screen twice, and the second time is because of this, right? Because of this prints when the second, and there it's done well. it's written correctly. So we have basically written into the file and read from the file. Okay, so there are few issues. One issue is that if my name has actually two strings, let's say Sachin Tendulkar as we wrote earlier, then and I write it into the, I write Sachin Tendulkar here. When I try to read from this, from that file using where is it? Yeah. So I ask it to read from percentages. So what happens is that only the first string gets into. So if I have, if in my file it's Sachin Tendulkar, only first string comes up. That's a problem, right? Uh, because only Sachin will come here, and because percentages will ensure that only the first string comes up. So if you want multiple strings, so I have to take care of space also. So in that case, there is a problem because then I don't know when to stop. Maybe this entire string is on name with numbers, etc. So what is a delimiter? When should I say that okay, my name ends here? So I can give an enter as a name. Okay, so let me say I made this. Then I can change here to, I'm going to write, let's say I'm going to change it to Tendulkar, and I did a basically an enter. So in this case, so when I scanf, I can write /n. So enter is the delimiter we have to read. Okay, so let me just comment on the writing part. I'm going to just read from this file and print it on screen. Okay, so file we can see here, this is the file. I'm going to print that. Okay, now let me compile and let me run /a.out. Okay, so this is clear. The name is Sachin Tendulkar, name marks everything as it is now taken correctly. Okay. So this is one change which we had to do because our if name contains, we need to identify which is the delimiter we are going to use. If we are going to use names with spaces, space can't be the delimiter. We have to use something else, and here we have used enter as the delimiter. Right. So this way, now we know how to read and write from file. That's it. Thank you.